I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequencies, so prepare for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, but basically anywhere you can find a podcast. Make sure you let everybody know about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mark B. Let's bring the crew in. All right, y'all. So the Breakfast Club, DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, and they have their political correspondent, Teslin Figaro. They brought on Larry Elder. Some of y'all, for people who don't know, Larry Elder is a Black man, conservative, ran for governor in the state of California. He's not like Sister C, who's a Republican that is cool. He is a raging sellout, for real. And the Breakfast Club brought him on. They've had a few people on. I mean, in the past, they've had people on, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden. They had Cornel West. Cornel West is running for president, for the Green Party. But they brought Larry Elder on. And I first noticed this because I don't watch a lot of the Breakfast Club. I'm not a big fan. Let's put it out there. I'm not a big fan of Charlamagne the God. And, DJ Envy recently, he's had a few problems, in the news or what have you. So I watch bits and pieces of some of the stuff they do, but they brought on Larry Elder. And the clips that I was seeing was Larry Elder putting Charlamagne in check. And I was like, okay. But I watched the entire conversation between Charlamagne, Envy, Teslin, and Larry Elder. And I was like, as much as everybody was talking about Larry Elder put Charlamagne in check, they did let him kind of just run roughshod all over them without, really calling him on his BS. So while I, was somewhat of a fan of, people, putting Charlamagne in check, I was like, damn, I wish somebody would have been more equipped to put Larry Elder in check. So we're gonna talk about that, talk about some other things. So when y'all saw the conversation between the Breakfast Club and Larry Elder, what did y'all think?
I don't think they let him run unchecked. I think they let him run himself into the ground, which is exactly why he's suing the GOP right now. And they're like, you can't say that systemic racism doesn't exist, but there are systems in place that are running Trump out of his ability to run for office. And so they basically let him just kind of run himself into circles. I agree that I would have handled it differently, but I also think that they didn't necessarily let him run all over them. They asked him questions that he didn't have answers to. And when he didn't have answers to it, they kept coming back to it, but we're talking about systems. Okay, so we take race out of it, we're talking about systems. Okay, well, what are white people doing wrong? Okay, well, what is this? They kept bringing him back to like basic points, and he couldn't answer those questions. So I felt like he kept falling short where they needed him to fall short, to where the interview was basically impactful for enough people to see that he didn't have answers. He's giving attacks on Black families not having Black fathers, but what he didn't have is solutions. And none of his analysis involved how we got to this point. So we're not going to talk about how systemic racism and redlining and lynchings and all these things led us to the point where fathers and mass incarceration, where fathers are not in the homes. We're just going to talk about how fathers aren't in the homes. We're just going to start from today and then go forward. And that's a ridiculous argument to have. And they called him out on that, I think, repeatedly. But I mean, he's obviously problematic as a person, but he's not making enough headway to make it to the debate stage. So I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's that was really his only outlet because you're not going to hear from him on any other platform. And so I think that's part of it. He had to take the Breakfast Club. He probably really didn't want to. You know, when he first came on, he's like, I am honored. I'm honored to be here. And I'm like, come on, man, get out of here. When's the last time you actually watched the Breakfast Club or engaged with them? And so the first clip I saw though was when he was talking about like you said, putting Charlamagne in check. They're talking about the Joe Biden thing or whatever. And so that was the first clip I saw. And you know, Charlamagne being who he is and how the show runs, I think part of their thing is they let people come on and they let people talk and whatever. And I don't think they really like combative style interviews, you know, because no matter who they're interviewing, a lot of times they're like, yeah, they're agreeing. Like they might sometimes say, but what about this? But they're not like just hardcore, like you would see on a CNN or a MSNBC type, you know, platform. So I think they're kind of just trying to be cool, and that to them, that probably will get other people to come onto their show because they feel like they have an opportunity to actually get their talking points out there, which that's all he was doing. He had a list of probably 5 things. And he kept circling back to them. No matter what question was asked, he kept hitting on the same fatherhood, no systemic racism, black on black crime. So he just kept circling back to those things. So it is what it is. It's political season, and these people are in a rush to just get, no matter what you ask, they're going to have their talking points ready and they're going to get them out there.
So before I bring C in, I'm gonna have to say this. They're combative when it's a rapper who they feel isn't able to articulate themselves and really allocute their point. They're combative and they try to clown rappers when they come on the show that way. I've seen that. I've seen in the past, I've seen Charlamagne be combative towards Black women like Little Mo and other people. Now, that may have been earlier in his career, and now he's trying to reinvent himself with this therapy and all this other stuff, right? But they can be combative. I've seen them do it. And in my opinion, I felt that they were woefully unprepared for this discussion. And I think they're woefully unprepared for most political discussions. Like when Hillary comes on and Hillary is like, what do you keep in your purse? Oh, I keep hot sauce in my purse. And they don't say anything about it. Larry Elder called Charlamagne out. He said, you say, I got my N-word wake-up call. Why you didn't say nothing when Biden told you that you ain't black if you don't vote for Joe Biden? You should have been offended by that. And Charlamagne's only response was, you're probably right, but I didn't even think of it that way. That's sad, man. And the reason why I think it's sad is because, unfortunately, too many of our community, the Black community, that's their only outlet or their resource for news. And that's an indictment on a segment of our community. But if that's all you're going to get, I need for them to do better or bring somebody else in that's going to do better. Typically, Teslin Figaro, she's usually on point. I think that she let Larry Elder kind of troll and get under her skin, and she got outside of her element, and she got frustrated, and she kept talking about, well, what about the system? It's a system. Well, and then Charlamagne kept saying, well, what do white folks do wrong? This dude is a professional troll. He's a professional troll paid by the Republicans and the conservatives. Do you really think he's going to fall into a trap like, well, what do white folks do wrong? And if that is the most sophisticated you are as an interviewer, talking to somebody like Larry Elder, what's the point? Like, what's the point of you even having this interview? You still at least wrote down some questions. It didn't even seem like they even wrote down any questions that were as serious at all, other than it's a system that holds us down. No shit. Yeah, we know it's a system that holds us down. And we know that Larry Elder ain't going to agree to that because he don't even believe in reparations. So why don't you have something more concrete to ask him? I was disappointed. I wasn't really disappointed with Envy or Charlamagne because I really didn't have high expectations of either one of them. But I was disappointed in Tesla. But that's my opinion. See, we give you a hard time about being a Republican, and it's all love. But from your perspective, what did you think about the interview?
I mean, from my perspective, I honestly was a little disappointed in Charlamagne and Envy. I think it's just one of those things to where, I mean, I know we have a podcast and we jump all around. I mean, if you pull up a show from January to December, we could be talking about many different topics, but we never claim to be experts. And our platform isn't quite as big as the Breakfast Club. So if Charlamagne and Envy aren't going to prepare themselves to discuss something with somebody like Larry, who could be like, impactful the way people vote and the way people think, then they need to not have him on the show. And I agree with you. Charlamagne, he is combative. He does argue. He likes to debate. He just wasn't prepared for that conversation. And then I think towards the end, Charlamagne was just just kept asking him questions, like circling around. The more Larry got frustrated, and he wasn't very good at speaking either. And he just, started to get frustrated, started talking really fast, and just started acting agitated. And I think that's where Charlamagne's kind of trolling kind of came in. He was asking questions, but just more or less trying to get under his skin. He wasn't really trying to have a debate or discuss anything. And yeah, I'm a Republican. It's not a secret, but at the same time, I never vote a straight ticket. I'm not a fan of Larry's. He's one of those people to where it's almost more dangerous when you mix a little bit of truth with about 15 or 20 lies, because some of the stuff he was saying, I do agree with. Some of the stuff he was saying was the truth, but he would say that it's not, a certain group of people's fault for where we are, but then he would turn around and say it was the Democrats' fault. But you just said that it didn't exist. Like, no one did it, but the Democrats did it, 5 minutes later. So he wasn't very good at speaking either. He was all over the place. So I wasn't a fan of the interview. It was worthless.
It was a mess. But I'll say this: the only thing I disagree with you on, sis, is that I don't think it was worthless. It was worthless for us, right? People who care about progressing economic, political development of Black people. But for Republicans and people like Larry Elder, it served a purpose, because Larry Elder know he's not going to win any election. Nobody. He couldn't even win California. He couldn't even win a recount, what they call a recall in California. But if he can add enough confusion, and for those Black people who are like, I don't really care for Biden, I don't care for Kamala Harris or what have you, and he's able to throw out a few of those talking points, add some confusion to the discussion, all they need to do is siphon off a few votes, and that's the purpose that he serves. Which leads me to my question. Lav and I, we was on the show last week, and we talked about Q going on Tucker Carlson's show, and how some people said, okay, Q, why are you even going on Tucker Carlson's show? Why are you giving him validity by going on his show? Why are you exposing your platform to Tucker Carlson? Do you think the Breakfast Club messed up by even giving Larry Elder their platform? Because Lav talked about how he's not going to be able, Rika talked about he's not going to get on the debate stage. Lav talked about, he probably didn't want to do the interview, but that's the only really news outlet that was going to give him a shot. Do you think they messed up by giving this clown an outlet to even cause this confusion?
No, somebody was going to do it. If it wasn't them, somebody would have. They have a business. I don't think they messed up by doing it. I think they messed up by not preparing for it.
I think also, that's a good point. They weren't fully prepared, but I also think that they didn't seek out the interview. I'm almost 100% sure that the higher ups, run by a major corporation, set the interview. I'm sure Charlamagne wasn't calling Larry Elder's people like, "Hey, let's
get
you
about that though." Are we sure about that? Because Charlamagne, he was all up in there with the little white girl's ass, Tommy Lauren or what have you. And I think some stuff came out that they kind of orchestrated that. Remember, he was sitting down with Tommy Lauren, that little racist white girl. She kind of disappeared recently. You know what I mean? But Charlamagne, he was like, well, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah, he made sure he said that. Yeah.
What's the point, dog? What's the point?
Yeah.
If you could say I'm not a Democrat or Republican, then what are you standing for? You standing for Black people? Then say that.
Yeah.
Just say that. So, but I cut you off, man. My bad. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I don't think that sometimes they set up the interview. They have people, a lot of times those shows have, I guess, people that set up the interviews. So I don't know if it's necessarily the owner of talent that initiates those things.
But old girl said she wasn't a Republican or Democrat either. They both said that both parties are trash. And I felt that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
Yeah, but
I
that
mean, I feel
that
like
don't do
the
nothing if
party
you're not going to ask the
system.
pointed questions, though. You know what I'm saying? Just like
Well,
saying,
yeah,
"That's trash." You got to say something.
And whenever somebody says that to me, I'll be honest with you. I'll be like, so the last 5 elections, what have you voted? And I mean, they're not going to. Seriously, what do you think they're going to say?
I'm gonna say Democratic, Green, Democratic. So
Right. So they're never going to say they're never when they say that they're never going to say I voted Republican. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Well, I think sometimes when people say that too, they're just letting you know that I'm just not like all or nothing. And then,
I'm
like,
not.
sometimes when people want to have that whole Biden Trump debate with me, I don't like either one of them. So you're wasting your time.
Yeah,
Like, you have people that are absolutely pro Trump because they're Republicans. You have people that are pro Biden because you're Democrats. You wasting your air arguing with me because I don't like either one.
I'm disenfranchised.
My thing is this. And Lab, you talked about how they have different producers, folks that, book the interviews, get people to come on the show. They also got people that write questions for them. They got people that can help them prepare.
Oh no, they should.
They probably should. And obviously they didn't have it this time, but they should have.
Yeah.
Or if they did, they let them down in a major way.
Yeah.
Because Larry's one of those dudes. I've talked to guys like that in person, and they're real quick with throwing out like those statistics and machine gun fire. And their whole goal is not really to convince you to side with them or to understand their point, because they really have no point other than, like I said, to cause confusion. They just want to throw you off your base. They get you to stuttering and stammering, and then anybody who's watching says, "Well, damn, they look weak," and that's what we talk about right now, right? The Breakfast Club, they look weak. They look weak. They look ill prepared, and he ate them for lunch. Now, I think people are short.
I don't think he really ate them for lunch, though. You think so?
That's what I was just about to say, sis. I think people are short-sighted. Now, when you just hone in on that one little clip, when Larry said, "Hey, you let Biden come in here and say that to you," and he said, "Seemed to me you got your N-word wake-up call right then, and you didn't say nothing." When you focus on that little bitty clip, he did get in Charlamagne's grill. He did, for real.
Yeah, but I mean, I
look
also
at it as the interview and in its totality, then you realize both of them. It was about, I don't want to disrespect the Sister Teslin, but Envy, the men on that debate right there, they was a bunch of idiots. They didn't really have much to say. They didn't have much to say at all.
And Larry, there was times where he was so agitated and talking. I was like, somebody needs to check his blood pressure. Like he's not very polished when talking either. And as far as that comment, y'all know I'm not a Biden fan for multiple reasons. But him, I don't know if I would necessarily say that was an N-word call by Biden making that bad joke that didn't land. So I think that was something Larry said to respond. But Charlamagne basically asked Larry, have you ever had that wake-up call ever in your life? But Larry's the type of person that would have it, would brush it, oh, that's not what they meant, or they were just joking, or they didn't really mean this. So but I don't think you can compare that to somebody making a stupid joke. Yeah, said something back to him, I would have, but at the same time, it was a stupid joke by somebody that's almost 100.
I think that speaks to the point. But to me, that speaks to
100.
That's
got the nerve to want to run again. What's good, everybody? To listen to any of our past shows, go to www.manlistenshow.com. And if you want to add right here in the show, you can do the same thing.
That speaks to the point that, is the Breakfast Club really the show to be having these discussions? Are they really? They need to be having these discussions, and if they aren't, then who is?
But you gotta
other than the Man Listen Show. Come holler at us, Joe.
But who are people listening to, though?
Say it again.
Well, that's the thing.
Who are people listening to? You got to put these people on who people are listening to. You want to reach an audience, and that's what you got to do. But to circle back to your previous point, where you were like, he throws out all these percentages and all these things to throw people off their points. I literally like I said with the last one, with the movie, when you give me an assignment, I'm gonna look at it like an assignment. So I listened to it like it was an assignment, and I took notes throughout the whole thing. So when he said that white males are only 50% of the shooters in this country, I said, nope, lies. And so I went to the statistics. So white males are 53% of mass shootings. That includes workplace discrepancies and things like that. Nope. School shootings and church shootings, white males are like 99% of that. Let's focus
Right.
in on that.
Right. Because
So,
mass shootings, if
mass
you shoot three
shootings,
people,
now
that's
you can't
something.
in the gas station and
Yeah.
I'm mad at the people at work. No,
Mm-hmm.
children in schools. That's like 99% white males.
No motives. Or
Yeah.
no motives, I should say. Nothing,
Churches, 100% white males.
Mhm.
I don't know all the statistics, but I went through it and I was just like, no. So that statistic where there were like, where he was like, oh, 53% of mass shooters are only white males. Not only are white males the majority of shooters for churches and schools, but they're also the majority of shooters in schools where they say Black people are disproportionately affected by these school shootings. So these mass shootings in schools and churches are performed by white males in predominantly Black or people of color schools and churches. So you can't just circle that into all of the mass shootings in America and then make it seem like white males are not the school shooters, not the church shooters, not the racist shooters that they are, just because it doesn't fit your agenda.
And Charlamagne called, I mean, not Charlamagne, Envy called him too when he was talking about, oh, Black people, white men get denied for loans the greater amount than Black. And Envy said, this is 2023. He read in them statistics and he was like, I can show you a study that says the opposite. So that, that really no proof. All he says is he just says, I can show you a study that says the opposite. And so that's the thing with this internet. Hey, yeah, I can find you something on there that Chat GPT came up with that is that sounds good and looks good, but it's 100% false.
Right.
So, who's fact checking?
And see, but here's my thing. Here's my thing. We are a podcast of friends, right? That do this part-time until it gets big. And we're able to call that out, right? Larry Elder put out a bunch of BS when he was talking about, Black people not getting loans. He said, well, they got poor credit scores. But we know, we've talked about it on this show plenty of times, how we as ADOS we've been targeted by the system that Tesla and Charlamagne kept trying to talk about. And that was my problem with them. They kept trying to get him to admit to a system. Don't get him to try to admit to a system because he's not going to do it.
Right.
Go ahead and just put it out there and say, no, Larry, we had our money taken from us when we had the Freedmen's Bank and it was shut down and our money was literally taken from us. When we had the Tulsa race riot and they burned us down, they try to say, well, they just built it back up in another year. No, you still set us back hundreds of years. That's the first time I ever heard of, well, they just bounced back. And you was like, well, who did it to him? He's not going to say it.
No, he's not
going to say it. So it's your job when you have your platform to have all these Black people watching, some of them informed, some of them not. Us four, we're able to connect the dots and say, Larry Elder's full of shit, right? But there's a whole bunch of people that listen to the Breakfast Club that needed Tesla and Figaro. They needed Charlamagne, they needed Envy to break it down for them. No, he's wrong, and this is why. So that's why I say we don't need to see any more political candidates on the Breakfast Club unless they can really bring somebody in that can combat the foolishness, that can combat when Joe Biden says you don't vote for Joe Biden, you're not Black. And when you have Larry Elder or Donald Trump, Trump ain't gonna never come on. DeSantis will probably never come on. But if you got anybody, from the right wings that come on that can actually challenge them and put stuff out to let people know, hey, this is what you need to think of when the people are saying the stuff to you. That's the whole point I'm trying to make.
And
I
people
agree
need to
with
do
that.
their own research too, though. You know, he was saying that the banks aren't discriminating. Well, Wells Fargo and Bank of America have already admitted to doing that. Like, you know, it's there's facts. So it's not even there's nothing to even debate right there. And so when he would, and I don't understand like why they didn't throw that out there. They're just like, yeah, there is. I'm just like, okay,
And then
you're
the
right. So,
schools with
yeah.
so he was debating choice of schools, which we all agree with the propaganda being perpetrated on the kids in Florida. So the choice of schools in California, being able to choose which school your kids go to, i.e. private schools or charter schools or something like that, is a totally different argument than being forced to send my kid to a school where DeSantis is pumping this kid full of propaganda, talking about some people benefited from slavery. That's a totally different argument. And they let him basically combine that argument, which is ridiculous. So they should have addressed that too. But also, and then they let him get that quote off, I guess, where people benefited from slavery came from a different article and
Man,
it was quoted in AP African
it
Studies.
was already in there. Come on, man.
No, not already in there. Context matters. Context matters. AP college courses, elementary school courses, context matters. So what a AP college student can understand and what a fifth grader is going to understand are two totally different things. And also saying that I took skills forced upon me in slavery and made the best of it is a totally different argument than, hey, I benefited from slavery. That's totally different. And that's what they let him get that off. And I don't like that they let him get that. They let him combine that argument with the whole mixture of choice of schools and what DeSantis is doing to the school system. That's ridiculous.
And I'll be honest with you. I've said it on the show. I think we said it on the show. Matter of fact, we did say it on the show, and I said it. Trump wasn't always wrong. Trump wasn't always wrong. And Larry Elder wasn't always wrong on this show. About 90% of what he was saying was BS. But when he talked about school choice, he said, hey, listen, Biden and them, they want you going to terrible schools. They want you, they want your children to be uneducated while his kids go to private school. Barack Obama's kid go to private school. That's a great point. When they talk about immigration, how being unchecked, how it affects Black community, ADOS, that's a great point. And I would have tried to lead him down that road. If you want to say I'm exposing Black people to this guy, it almost seems as if they really just wanted what they got. They wanted any type of attention, whether it be negative, whether it be positive. But the potential fallout and the damage that comes from being ill prepared and let somebody get off like this. Because I went to the social media, I went to the Breakfast Club social media, and of course, all the bootlicking Republicans, not Sister C, the bootlicking Republicans is, Larry Elder got off, and I'm so glad that he came on the show and
Exactly.
he did blah, 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 blah. I looked at Tesla's, and Tesla was a little bit defensive, and she was just like, well, y'all think we should have asked this? Then guess what? Y'all need to organize, y'all need to do your own thing. I completely agree. That's why we got the Man Listen show, Tesla. Much respect to you. But I just wish that she would have did a little bit better. I'm not trying to hate on the sister because normally she comes with it. But sometimes when you debating somebody like that, I've done that in the past. And sometimes you have to recognize that it's really an exercise in futility talking to somebody like a Larry Elder, because all they want to do, like I said before, is create confusion. That's all they want to do. So I would even kind of be hesitant to give him access to my platform. And if I did, I would want to make sure that I was 100% prepared going into it.
Well, the thing is with Larry, you almost have to control it, and then you probably gonna have to. He's the type of person that you got to like pause and then run the clip back. He'd say like immigration hurts, Black people. It does, right? But then he turn around and say, well, Asians are where they are because they work hard. So he's the type that you almost got to be like, pause. Okay, you just said this 10 minutes ago, and then play it again. So
Right.
he's like all over the place. So he's not. I do feel like they weren't prepared, but I also feel like somebody like you or even like us, just I don't think it would have went down that way. As long as you control the conversation and get him to stop talking, you don't really. It's easy to debate a lot of the stuff he was saying.
And you know what's crazy about it? That was one of the most easiest things to refute. I'm glad you brought that up. See, we talked about Asians, the Chinese, and the Japanese, just because they got the fathers in the home and they respect the family, and that's why they're doing better than Black people. And they didn't call them. There's no model minority. No, they didn't get terror. He tried to say, well, in California, they did intern the Japanese. They did do this, whatever. Guess what? They also gave them reparations. They also paid them folks.
They did. Yep.
They paid them folks.
And gave them preferential loans.
Mm-hmm. And next to white women, they're the biggest minority loan beneficiaries in the country.
Yep. So I don't know, man. People give, they have revisionist history. And Larry was the king of that. And so the Breakfast Club, I need y'all to do better. But speaking of revisionist history.
Yeah. You like what you see, don't you? I know you do. You too can be fly like me and the rest of the Man Listen crew. Grab this merch. Check out our link in our bio. Drip.
The girl Sha'Carri Richardson. I got to talk about this before we go. Sha'Carri was in the outside lane, the world championship, and she started off decent. And boy, if y'all watch that race, she hawked them girls. She hawked the Jamaicans down. Hey, and she won the world championship this year. And I'm so proud of her. People can go back and they can roll the tape.
Me too.
We talked about Run Sha'Carri Run. I think we might have did 2 episodes on Sha'Carri because we talked about when they was talking about her looks, right? They're talking about she looks like a man, she's masculine, and her hair, she looks ghetto. We talked about that. Then she lost her biological mom, right? I think she lost her biological mom. She got disqualified from the Olympics because she was smoking weed. And all these gatekeeper Negroes had so much to say. They was on their high horse. They was wagging their finger at Sha'Carri. And they didn't want to extend this young woman grace. They didn't. Us on the Man Listen show, we did, right? We certainly did. Yeah, she made a mistake, but she can come back from it. And the reason why I'm really being Mr. I Told You So, because y'all know I'm Mr. I Told You So, but the really reason why I'm doing this, because I have never seen an athlete tore apart and berated and debated like Sha'Carri. They didn't even do Ja that bad. Now, we got into Ja's behind, but they didn't even do Ja as bad as they did Sha'Carri. And it was Black men and Black women. But guess what? Oh, I'm so happy for her. Nah, Negro, keep that same energy. You can tell Sha'Carri was raised right somewhat, because if it was me, I'd have been like, hey, all y'all that was clowning, all y'all. You know what I mean? I would have said it all. Ricky, you ain't have to.
Full pack on him.
Right. 2-pack.
Hit him up.
2-pack. Yeah.
What would you have told him?
Did y'all see that part of the interview when Larry Elder said 2-pack, and they said it's 2-pack, not 2-pack?
Yeah.
Right, but then Charlamagne pronounced something wrong, and then Larry was like, "Oh, now I pronounced 2-pack wrong, and you got this wrong."
Which was really embarrassing that Charlamagne messed up. Like, I can't remember what it was, but
it was so simple.
Yeah, it was super simple, and I was just like, "Come on, y'all!
Yeah.
Come on, y'all!"
I was like, "Here we go. You let this dude get a."
But I mean, not to keep harping on him on that, but that's another thing that people do. They mispronounce your name wrong on purpose, kind of diminish you. Like, no, I'm talking about when he say 2-pack, he knows.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He knows.
Yeah.
Well, Larry is also 71.
Look, I looked at the pictures of him from high school, and I told my sister, I was like, "Hey, look, that's what's wrong with him. He wasn't getting none in high school. He been mad ever since, and now he got him one of them bunnies."
Yeah. But what y'all think about these folks? These folks coming in.
Sha'Carri?
Yeah, Sha'Carri.
I'm so proud of her. I think it's amazing that she was just like, not only am I unconcerned and unbothered by the hate, but all I'm focused on is I went through a tough period. Yeah, I smoked a little weed. Who cares? Everybody does it. And that was legal in most states. But then for her to just be like, and now here I am at the top of my game. And then for her to walk past all those white reporters and only give an interview to the Black reporter, I was just like,
Did she do that?
Yeah.
I
She
didn't see
only
that.
gave an interview to the Black
Yeah,
reporter.
she only
was
gave it to
like,
the Black reporter.
nope.
Yeah.
I remember how you treated me. I'm not playing those reindeer games with y'all today. I'm Shakari. I'm the fastest person in America, in the world. I don't know.
In the world. Yeah, in the world. In the
In the
world.
world, not just the city, the world, Craig.
World, Craig. The world, Craig.
She came
It-
through and she
and you
walked past
know,
all those white reporters and went to the
yeah,
black dude and gave her speech and told the world, I am that chick.
yeah. And I don't know if y'all watched the post race when they were walking and she was talking with the Jamaican women. Like, they honestly seemed like happy for her too. Like,
Yeah.
they was like, man, we saw what they did. You know what I mean? Like, we know
Yes.
what you went through. And they genuinely seemed excited and happy for her. And I like that part about it too, honestly.
I loved it. They have like a bunch of selfies of them together, and it's a
Yeah.
sound bite. And she's like, "So y'all never won this before?" She was like, "It's because of y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all Jamaicans so fast."
Yeah. And you know,
love
but my thing is so many people try to make excuses. Well, we just wanted her to, take accountability. And, we thought maybe she was getting too much pub and she hadn't actually won anything. How many times do you see people that are representing this country get pub? They had a whole what was they had a whole commercial. Was it the Wheaties commercial? It was a Nike commercial when it was Dave. It was
Reebok. It was Reebok.
Reebok and
Dave and Dan. Dave and Dan.
And
92,
they hadn't
yeah.
won anything. The one dude got there and totally laid an egg, and I think the other
Yeah.
guy he got bronze. They was the
Yeah.
decathlete. They was the decathlete.
Mhm.
So
Aw.
we pub up people all the time who haven't won anything. So for
Mhm.
folks to be like, well, I thought she was just getting too much props for, and she hadn't even done anything yet, or what have you. And I was just like, just say you just don't like this little black girl. Just say you
Just say you don't like black women.
just say
Period.
just say this little black girl's too hood for your sensibilities, and you don't want to see her have any success. Just say that.
And you
When she
know,
took off that wig and had them braids,
I was just
like,
about to
"Let's
say
go."
that she said, I'm not back. And she said, I'm not back, I'm better, and she is.
Yeah.
That was her, that was a world championship record for the 100 meters. So fast as anyone's ever ran in the world championships for women at 100 meters. She's going to be doing the 200 the end of this week. So wish her luck in that as well.
Hey, but here's the sad thing though. And we're relishing in this, right? Because I became a fan of the young girl because I hate when people pile on other folks, because I've been a victim of that. I hate when people do that. The sad reality is though, unless she is perfect for the remainder of her career, they're gonna come right back. Because a lot of those people, they begrudgingly said, oh, well, good for her. Good for her. A lot of people don't want to admit when they wrong. I mean, because I remember like when I told y'all, like we talked about like the actors. The actors are striking now, they're not getting paid. And I said Monique was right. And Lav and Erika was kind of like, well, yeah, sometimes people are right. Oh, y'all was real loud.
I don't think I ever said Monique was right, but
Yeah,
go
we was off. We was off camera. We was off camera. But you begrudgingly, he was like, yeah, yeah.
I still don't think she was right. Yeah, no.
Hey, Monique said
right in principle, not right in execution.
Said, pay me.
I don't even think right in principle. She's not funny.
Don't pay me to do free work. Pay me what I'm worth. Now you got everybody out here begging, hey, can we get paid? Now we can't watch our new shows. Now they all getting dirty. AC, they had them actors and them behind the scenes folks striking. They were standing under the trees because it was hot and they had the shades. And the damn Hollywood execs cut down all
the palm trees,
branches and shit. So yeah, y'all don't get no shade.
Y'all go stand somewhere else.
Go stand somewhere else.
Out on our boulevard.
Should have listened to Monique.
Listen, no.
Should have listened to Monique. See, y'all like the Shikari detractors. But listen, run Shikari. Hey, listen, Shikari, run, baby, run. Cause I need you to win from here on out. Because anytime if she don't place. If she comes in third, she comes in fourth, if she stumbles, whatever, they gonna be there. See, y'all try to do all this. Just say you don't like this little black girl. Just say you just don't like this little black girl from Oak Cliff because she don't fit your Jack and Jill. She don't fit your Jack and Jill standards.
But let's also give an honorable mention for Simone Biles and her comeback.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Monique, not funny. Simone Biles, great. Sha'Carri Richardson, great.
Agreed.
Look,
Agreed.
Monique ain't got to be funny. Monique got
But
the
she kind of
You're a
does.
comedian.
look.
You're
She
a
got the
comedian.
awards. She got the awards.
Okay.
She got the
So we get
accolades.
support that she has a supportable
act.
career,
She
and we
can
don't
act.
think it's funny.
Hey,
But she wasn't trying to get paid for those other awards. She was trying to get
Monique
paid
can
for
act her ass
comedy.
off. Monique can act her ass off, and guess what? When she said,
Yeah,
"Hey,"
she can act like
when
she's funny.
when she said, "Hey," she said, "Hey, y'all need to pay me for my work. Stop expecting me to do free work. I deserve more." And everybody left her on the limb. Guess who's asking to be paid more? Guess who's asking to be paid for what they work? Everybody else. So what's that say? She was right.
So
No,
two
what it
things.
is also you got to think about like this. If I mean, again,
That's a writer's strike.
all right, I hate to rehash it, but she said, "I want more. I want more." This is a collective saying we as a group deserve more, and that's the difference. So now, if she had to say it back then that everybody deserves more, then I would say you're right. She's 100% right.
No, you wouldn't have. Because when I said,
Hello?
you know why you wouldn't have? Because when I said, "Hey, how do you sit here and say, how do we as a people on this podcast talk about we want we want to enlighten, enrich, and empower Black people, and Monique's plight is everybody's plight." Monique's
But
plight,
at the same time, she was being detrimental and dogging other Black people in her thing.
He dogged the ones the gatekeepers.
Well, again,
according to her.
According to her, right?
Tyler.
So
what's that little lion ass gay boy? Let me take that out. What's that little line?
Edit this out. Hey, what do you do when you make sure you clap? Do the clapping.
Yeah.
So make sure you go back and get that.
So you know,
Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels. Only one that didn't apologize was who? Oprah. They all came back.
She don't give a fuck about her and nobody else. Oprah money long.
They all came back and said, "You know what? They all came back
to Larry Elder.
Hey.
She was denigrating Black people to advance her own personal cause.
Exactly. It's not the same thing. It's not the same.
No, she was not. No, she was
all
not.
those other things that Monique is great at. Monique wasn't trying to get paid for all those other things. She's trying to get paid to be a comedian. She's not funny. And I can debate that she's a great actor. A great actress. She plays the same crazy role, which I'm sure is what she plays in real life. So I'm sure
Denzel plays Denzel every role.
No,
that's not true. He's the equalizer, goddammit.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, I've never seen Monique outside the Parkers. I've never watched any movie she's in. So
listen, I'm not.
This plays the crazy role.
This is the mistake. This is a mistake that Charlamagne and Emmy and them went down. They kept trying. They kept trying to convince Larry Elder to say, "Hey, can you admit that this is a reality?" I know that y'all are not going to admit that.
I just told you, if
y'all not going to admit that Monique is a great actor. Multiple people have said it. Most people know it.
First of all,
he wouldn't keep getting roles.
Give me the stats on the last Monique show you went to.
What you mean great?
No, he's talking about. He's not talking about comedy. He said,
okay.
I don't.
What's the last one? What's her last movie? What's the last movie she put out?
Angela Bassett's great.
Wait. What's the last movie she put out?
Wait. I don't have to say that. And you know why?
Here we go. Now who's ill prepared?
But no. Because we can run the tape back. What did I say every time we discuss this?
You don't like her.
I said, personally, I am not a fan of her comedy. But the stance that she is taking is right.
The point is we can't find a fan.
She's not funny.
Who is a fan?
Who is a fan? You three aren't fans. I'm not a fan, but she's selling out those stadiums.
I'm a fan of a few jokes here and there. I'm just saying she's not funny. She rolled the whole big girl hate skinny girl story for too long.
Which I clearly was never a fan of.
Yeah, and then she never could bounce back. She has a few jokes. Like y'all know that one line I hit people with all the time. I send people that clip. So she has some funny clips, but I'm just saying she's not good stand up.
Monique can act. You'll never see any of Steve Harvey, Martin Lawrence, any of her contemporaries you will never see any one of them say she's not talented. Y'all trying to diminish her because
No, I'm not trying to
Charlamagne,
diminish
your
her.
point. Yes, you are.
How?
You said she was great though. To me, like
I said she's not
She's
great.
a great actor. As an
I
actor,
wouldn't
never
say
seen her.
Steve Harvey is a
I've never
great
seen her
actor.
outside
I
the
wouldn't say
Parker.
Sid the
Oh, my bad.
Entertainer is
I
a
can't
great
say.
actor.
but
you know
they're great
why?
to me.
You know why? You know why? Because Steve Harvey and Ted the Entertainer aren't great actors. They aren't.
Wait, but Monique is?
Do you?
I'm in an alternate universe right now, and I don't know how to get out.
No,
Well,
yes,
that's
yes,
happening
she
right
is.
I can't even.
She's a
speak
great
on that.
actress.
I don't
There's
know.
But
about
Steve
20,
Harvey
at
and
least
Ted the
probably,
Entertainer
there's
are
probably
not.
30 Black actresses that you could put above Monique.
You can put all
Hold
three
on.
of them in
Wait,
the
wait, wait,
same
wait, wait,
box,
wait.
as far
Hold
as
on.
I'm concerned.
Wait, 1 second, 1 second.
They're all mediocre.
1 second, 1 second.
Mhm.
Can you name 30 Black actors who have Golden Globe Awards?
Oh
That's
my
her
God. Here
contemporary.
you go with the Google.
No, seriously. No, seriously. Can you?
So if that Golden Globe is for
Larry
Precious,
Elder.
I'm gonna throw my phone
Wait,
at
Larry Elder.
my computer screen.
Wait,
If
wait,
any
Larry.
of those awards are for Precious,
Wait, Larry Elder. Wait, Larry Elder. Can you name them since you said it? Can you name them?
is any of her awards for Precious?
Can you name them? Can you name any
That's
of
like
them?
saying
I'm
Macklemore is the
gonna-
best rapper because he got a
I'm
Grammy.
gonna
Don't it?
unalive
any
myself.
of them?
So
If
loud,
any
you
of
took the
those
words out of my
awards are
mouth.
for
I was gonna say
Precious,
Hey, that's
Jadakiss
like
has
saying
bars.
Macklemore is the best rapper because he
I
got
was
a.
gonna say Jadakiss has bars.
You know
Laugh
what I'm
took the
saying?
words
So
right out my mouth.
I don't look at those
But he
awards,
doesn't sell
bro.
the most records.
What'd you say?
I said Laugh took the words out of my mouth. After you got finished talking, I was gonna say Jadakiss has bars. Three Stacks has bars, but they're not the most sold out rappers.
Or celebrated with awards.
What does that have
True.
to do with the awards?
Well, because you
You're
said
talking
who has
about
Golden
Monique.
Globes. That is not a
I don't
definitive.
even know what a Golden Globe is
So
for.
what? So
Yeah.
Never watched the award show.
So wait, hold on. So you were equating Monique's accomplishments as a
Mhm.
Black woman for a role that she played. She played the role, correct?
Yeah.
She played the role and she won awards to a white boy who got awarded an award. And we all know because he is white, you're trying to equate the two?
No,
I'm
there's a
saying
lot of rappers.
he played a role as well. There are certain roles that Black people have to play to win those awards. The roles that you would say a Black woman.
Wait a minute. I have my assistant here. Every single award that Monique has won has been for Precious.
No, I'm just saying there are certain roles and certain things
What
that
do you
you
mean?
play as
And
roles you play as a Black person to win the
What's
award.
wrong with hold on, wait a minute. What's wrong with that?
No. What I'm saying is
Hold on, Lab. What's wrong with that?
that was a terrible depiction of a Black woman as a Black mother in the system. That
I've
is
never seen the movie.
offensive.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I've never seen it.
That movie is offensive. The whole premise is offensive.
What did Denzel win an award for?
Being
Playing-
offensive. That's my point.
Yes.
The
You
awards
have
mean
a problem
nothing
with
to me.
Denzel? Do you have a problem?
You can't tell me that his
I said that
What
award
did
is
Halle
offensive.
Berry win an award for?
exactly.
Being
That's my
offensive.
point.
That's the point. The awards mean nothing
You ain't
to
making
me
no damn
because that's
point.
offensive.
It does. No, it's not. No,
The
it's
point
not.
is that
Compare her
the
to
roles
You
that
don't think
the role
her
that Halle
smashing that
played.
white dude and to win an award is offensive? That's offensive.
Yeah.
Halle Berry has done so many other great things than that.
What
Monsters Ball?
roles has Halle Berry played in that was award worthy?
I don't care. That wasn't it.
Okay. See, now y'all
I
going
mean-
to Larry Elder territory.
No, I'm
You
saying
say
like
you don't like Monique.
No, just
like
say we
Monique,
don't
just say
agree
Monique.
with you.
Huh?
You're saying that Monique is great because she's won an award, and every single award is for an offensive role.
I
That's
don't like
what I'm
Monique.
saying. I disagree.
She won
That's
an
all I'm
award
saying.
because she did an excellent job playing
Of being
a
an
role.
offensive Black mother.
Playing a role. Okay, so just like we said, no, we don't believe that we're gonna take Sandra Bullock's award because she played a role on some white folks that robbed Michael Orr. Hold on, no. Remember, ain't that what we said, Lav? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Ain't that what we said, Lav?
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock shouldn't get her shit taken back because she just played a role. Right? So now Monique is responsible for some stuff that actually does happen in the Black community, and she played that role.
No. You can't take that away from. But what I'm saying is you can't.
Okay, I'm glad you agree because Arika's talking some nonsense.
No, you can't. What I'm saying is that there. I think there's always an understanding where it comes to music, where it comes to movies, that there are certain roles that as a Black actor, actress, you're not going to get nominated. You could do the best job acting ever, and just because the role is not what they want to see from a Black person in a role or in a stereotypical role, they're not going to give you that acknowledgement. We talk about
they're not going to
Denzel.
watch it.
You talk about
Precious?
Denzel.
Who watched
No.
Precious?
I haven't watched it.
Eureka, did you watch Precious?
I watched some of it and I turned it off.
Steve, did you watch Precious?
No, earlier you said it's a bit you don't like Monique, and I said I am. I don't like Monique.
Okay, so how can you say, Eureka, how can you say that she did not deserve to win those awards for the acting job that she did just because the role was offensive? Are you grading her job as an actress and what she did?
No, I am not saying that. I'm saying that white people have a tendency of awarding roles for offensive Black characters.
Yeah.
So I don't give credence personally for awards given by white people. I don't give a fuck about any of the awards that they've given to any of us. I don't care. I don't watch award shows.
So the Image
I don't
Award,
listen
so
to
the Image
award
Award
shows, and I
sounds
don't care
correct.
about their awards.
So what about the Image Award? She won the Image
Win
Award.
an award for playing a slave too.
I don't watch any of the award shows. I don't care about that.
Well, wait, it's Black. Does that count?
No, I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
What's the one boy's name that won the award for?
So y'all just making stuff on now. All right.
No,
anyway,
I don't watch. I'm saying
it
I personally don't watch award shows. I don't care about what other people celebrate or award. What I'm saying is I don't personally support her because I don't personally think she's funny. I'm not saying she's not funny.
Instead of trying to diminish her
masses,
accomplishments, instead of
I'm
trying
not
to diminish
diminishing her accomplishments. I'm not diminishing what she's done.
Just say she talked about skinny chicks. I still have a vendetta and a grudge against that. So I'm not going to agree to anything that she's done that's good. Just say that.
That's a stretch. That's a big stretch. Do you know how many people have talked about skinny chicks since the day I was born? I would have to have a million.
What does he say? What does he say?
I don't care about that. I would literally pay to go see her if she was at the Helium because I like comedy shows.
What does he say?
What I'm saying is,
roll the tape back.
What I said is that's what she got famous on, is making those jokes. She's not funny.
And then she lost a lot of weight.
She talked about skinny chicks, and it wasn't funny. And Eureka said that was my main problem.
Okay, so she said that's how she got famous, and I said I agree, and it wasn't funny. And so for you to make the leap that I didn't think that was funny too, I am not going to support anything that she does.
Your words.
I thought she was, no, you didn't. I thought she was good in This Christmas. I thought she was good in a lot of the movies, but she always played that.
Not in This Christmas? That in This Christmas?
Maybe not This Christmas. The other Christmas movie with Danny Glover, the one with Danny Glover.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
The sister-in-law. But anyway, I think that she's funny as the auntie. But she's always the same character in everything that she plays.
Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with her getting her accolades. I don't have a problem with her getting her money.
Plenty of people that play the same character. There's plenty of
people. And I don't care. But I'm saying you can't trot out these white people awards and make me like her. That's all I'm saying.
I'm addressing your points. There's plenty of people who are typecast.
And they're not great.
And we don't diminish.
I don't care about them either.
Why you diminish? Then why you bring it up? If you don't care.
I'm not diminishing her. She was the topic of conversation.
Why you bring it up if you don't care?
What are you talking about?
You brought her up.
You said that she was accomplished because all these white people said she got all these awards, and I said I don't care.
Why did you bring up she only plays the auntie role? She only plays this role. And when I said there's plenty of people who play the same role and we don't diminish them, why are you diminishing Monique and not everybody?
For this to be the blackest show on the internet, and for you to be praising her based off of these white people accolades is really blowing me right now.
Your only response, hold on. Your only response is when I bring up the point, I don't care about them. I don't care about them. Okay, Larry Elder. Because when they say, well, what do white folks do wrong? I don't care about them.
Who do I care about?
I think everybody that plays the same role, I can't consider them great. You said she was great. And so that's when Eureka said when she played the same role. If you don't step outside your role, I can't
name somebody else other than Whoopi, or maybe other than Whoopi that's got the accolades like Monique got.
No, I don't look at the accolades. I've already
I
said
couldn't
that.
tell
I don't
you.
know
Name
who's
one.
won anything.
So these white people awards mean something to you, is what I'm hearing.
I don't know who's won anything. I don't
You
watch
got a black
TV.
one too. Yeah.
I don't watch
One.
TV. I don't
There,
watch
there is
TV.
only one.
I probably watch the ESPYs board, and I watch any awards. I don't even watch music awards.
Probably got one of them too.
Who?
Monique. She started
She's not
Blind
she's not
Side.
an
Yours the
EGOT. She's
biggest.
not an
the
I
Blind
EGOT.
don't
Side, too.
listen to, won't go to a movie of, won't go to a comedy show of Monique supporter I have ever met in my entire life. Why don't you watch one of her movies or go to one of her stand-ups and then give us an honest review?
I have.
Yeah, she's not a funny
I'm
comedian.
gonna
Once
end it like
we figured out it came from like a place of jealousy. So
okay.
sometimes she was
I
jealous
think
because she was big, and then that's when it's just like she just lost it.
like Marv, I think we talked about it enough. And you know what, Marv? For real, I'm gonna go ahead and admit Monique was right. Y'all should not be wearing them damn bonnets.
I agreed with that. I
That's
agree
the other
with
reason.
that.
That's the other reason why Rick ain't gonna ever side with it. I'm glad you brought it up too.
Hey, no, hey man, it's getting out of control right now. That's all I'm gonna say, man. It's out of control.
I got a bonnet upstairs right now, brand new bonnet. I like it.
Don't let it leave the house.
Lab said let it go, so I'm gonna let it go.
Lab said let it
about
go.
it enough.
We talked about it enough.
We talked about it enough.
Say, hey, y'all are getting unruly at this point.
I'm making sense.
Nobody's gonna win. Everybody's gonna come in feeling the same way they felt when we came in here.
I know
Nobody wins when the family.
You motherfuckers never want to admit that y'all fucking wrong.
I'm never wrong.
Yeah, I'm not wrong.
Case in point. That being said, make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at manlistenshow. At manlistenshow. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Click that bell icon so you'll be notified of our next episode. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
No more bonnets.
Monique was right.